Reports of trouble in paradise for Love Island USA champs Amaya and Bryan were clearly true, and now the speculation has been put to rest. The winners of the show, who captured hearts with their whirlwind romance and dramatic journey inside the villa, have officially confirmed their breakup on social media, shattering the dreams of many fans who believed their love story would last long after the cameras stopped rolling. It all unfolded in the way most modern celebrity breakups do, not with a press release or a carefully coordinated joint statement, but with a candid Instagram story. Amaya took to her account on Wednesday and dropped the news that she and Bryan were no longer together. Her words were brief but packed with meaning, making it clear that their paths had diverged in a way that couldn't be repaired. "We are no longer together," she wrote, before explaining that once the bright lights of the villa faded and real life set in, she and Bryan discovered they were on two different journeys. That short phrase carried with it the weight of something deeper, the unspoken acknowledgement that what works in the structured bubble of reality TV doesn't always translate to the outside world. Amaya elaborated on her feelings, choosing her words with care but still letting a bit of raw honesty seep through. "Our visions didn't align and relationships are supposed to be a team sport," she wrote, using a metaphor that immediately resonated with many who've struggled through mismatched relationships. She then added a striking phrase, "You don't have to drink the whole sea to know it's salty." It was an image that suggested she had seen enough red flags, enough mismatches, and enough of Bryan's true self outside the villa to know the relationship wasn't sustainable. To some fans, it read like a subtle jab, a quiet but firm declaration that things with Bryan weren't what they seemed. But Amaya, aware of how quickly online fandoms can turn love into hate, didn't want the breakup to spiral into negativity directed at her ex. She assured her followers that despite everything, it was still all love between her and Bryan. She emphasized that she didn't want her fans or the broader Love Island community to use the breakup as an excuse to harass him or send hateful messages. In her eyes, their relationship had simply run its course. There wasn't going to be a war of words, at least not from her side, and there wasn't going to be a campaign to smear Bryan's name. This update came just days after breakup rumors had already begun to surface. Social media sleuths, always quick to notice the smallest shifts in celebrity behavior, had pointed out that Amaya and Bryan unfollowed each other on Instagram, a move that in today's culture almost always signals drama behind the scenes. That action alone sent fans into a frenzy, with countless TikToks, Reddit threads, and Twitter posts dissecting the possible reasons behind the apparent fallout. Many pointed to recent moments of tension, including the fact that just before the reunion episode aired on Peacock, a viral video had surfaced showing Bryan partying with other women. At the reunion, which was taped earlier in the month, Amaya had still stood by Bryan's side. When the video came up, he addressed it, and while it was an awkward moment, Amaya didn't throw him under the bus. In fact, she seemed to be protecting their relationship, brushing it off and showing solidarity. But now, with the news of their breakup, that moment takes on a different tone. What looked like loyalty back then may now be read as a final attempt to hold things together, a public show of support even as cracks had already begun forming behind closed doors. The timing of it all is telling. The reunion was taped on August 12th, and at that point, they were still presenting as a united couple. The finale of the season, which aired on July 13th, had shown them walking away with not just each other but also the coveted grand prize of $100,000. They were the winners, the ultimate success story, the golden couple that had gone from strangers to lovers under the watchful gaze of America and emerged triumphant. But somewhere between that taped reunion and late August, things changed. Whatever happened in those 2 weeks was enough to unravel the romance that millions had invested in. Fans have reacted with a mix of heartbreak and resignation. For those who watch Love Island USA, and reality dating shows in general, this is not a new phenomenon. Many winning couples who appear destined for forever inside the villa quickly learn that real life outside the bubble is a different game. The villa provides structure, routines, and a shared purpose: win the challenges, avoid elimination, stay loyal. Once the show ends, couples are thrust into a world of distance, real-life obligations, career pursuits, and temptations amplified by sudden fame. What feels like a fairy tale under curated conditions can collapse under the pressure of reality. Amaya's use of the phrase, "two different journeys," echoes a sentiment expressed by many reality TV alumni. Love Island relationships are often fast-tracked, with connections built under an intense microscope, accelerated timelines, and producers nudging storylines along. Once outside, the pace slows, and people rediscover themselves outside of the show's script. It isn't surprising that Amaya and Bryan realized their visions didn't align. She may be thinking about building her brand, pursuing new opportunities, and carving her identity as more than just a Love Island contestant. Bryan may have different priorities, different values, or simply a different approach to handling post-show fame. When those diverge, love isn't always enough to bridge the gap. Still, the disappointment is palpable. Amaya and Bryan were fan favorites from the very start. Their chemistry, banter, and vulnerability set them apart from other couples. Viewers rooted for them through every twist, from recouplings to tense moments of doubt, and celebrated their victory in the finale as though it was their own. For fans, the breakup feels like a personal betrayal, as though the love story they invested in was somehow less real because it didn't last. But that's the tricky thing about reality TV. The emotions may be real, but the circumstances are artificial, and sustaining love outside that artificial bubble is a far more complex task. The fact that they won $100,000 together adds another layer of intrigue. Fans can't help but wonder what happens to the prize money. Did they split it evenly? Will there be disputes about who deserves more? Though no such issues have been mentioned publicly, money often complicates relationships, and the speculation will likely linger. After all, reality TV history is filled with stories of couples whose love and finances imploded after the cameras stopped rolling. For now, Amaya seems to be handling the breakup with grace, showing maturity in her statement and trying to keep things positive. Bryan, on the other hand, has remained relatively quiet since the announcement, leaving fans to fill the silence with their own interpretations and assumptions. Did his behavior at the party signal deeper issues of trust? Was the viral video a turning point? Did Amaya simply decide she deserved more than half-hearted commitment? None of these questions have been directly answered, but they hover in the air, feeding the endless cycle of gossip and speculation that fuels fan engagement with the franchise. And while this might be just another breakup in the world of Love Island, it also speaks to broader themes. It's a reminder of how challenging relationships can be when played out in public, under the scrutiny of millions of strangers. It highlights the fragility of connections formed in unusual, high-pressure environments. And it underscores the reality that money, fame, and adoration don't guarantee happiness. When the season finale aired on July 13th, the narrative was perfect. Two people found love against the odds, beat out the competition, and walked away with both a partner and a financial prize. But now, just weeks later, the story has changed. The ending isn't a fairy tale. It's a breakup, the kind that feels painfully ordinary despite being splashed across social media and gossip sites. Money, as the saying goes, can't buy happiness. And in this case, it couldn't buy longevity, trust, or a shared vision for the future either.